Tonight from Yankee Stadium, it's the American League East Division leaders, the Yankees, against the Red Sox in their first meeting of the year. Two old traditional rivals meeting on ABC's Monday Night Baseball. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Bender. The Yankees have just concluded their longest road swing of the year, 12 games. They've won 8 of those, extended their lead in the American League East to 2 games. The Red Sox, though, on the other hand, after winning 14 games in April for a club record, have really hit the skids. They've lost 4 in a row, 9 of their last 12, and for the first time, they're below the 500 mark. With me, future Hall of Famer Joe Morgan. And Joe, at the start of the year, Lou Gorman, the general manager of the Red Sox, said this club would be better in the '86 pennant winners.
Well, that was the feeling going into the season. And actually, the Red Sox are leading the league in hitting, but they're not producing runs. They're not hitting in the clutch. If you don't hit in the clutch, you're not going to win many ball games.
The Yankees keep winning despite the distractions of a Lou Piniella and a Billy Martin and Dave Winsfield's book. They just seem to thrive on it.
Well, if you play in New York, whether it's for the Mets or the Yankees, you realize there's going to be controversy. In fact, controversy in New York is like the traffic. It's always here.
We hope to have Billy Martin on with us.
Well, I was looking forward to talking to Billy because he's always candid. But he did release a statement, and basically the statement says that this is a very serious situation, and he's not going to put any fuel on the fire by making any statements. He wants his team to concentrate on winning the pennant.
All right, Joe, let's go back now and document what brought us to this point. It started almost a month ago. Billy Martin and his 3-game suspension. It all started on May 6th when the Yankee skipper kicked dirt on umpire Tim Welke. Billy was thrown out and fined $300. The on-field incident followed Billy's altercation in an Arlington, Texas nightclub. Then the big blow-up a week ago tonight. Billy protested a play at second base. In kicking dirt on umpire Dale Scott, he accidentally kicked Scott. Billy ended up throwing dirt, and he ended up getting ejected. A 3-day suspension and a $1,000 fine followed. The suspension ends tonight, and a showdown between Martin and the umpires may occur in Yankee Stadium. We welcome those viewers from the Dodgers-Astros game to Yankee Stadium. Tonight, Billy Martin's 3-game suspension ends, and there is a prospect possibly of a showdown with the American League umpires. We'd hope to have Billy with us. He did not want to come on live. He made a statement, said he wanted to avoid the press. But we have in the booth with us the president of the American League, Dr. Bobby Brown, and also the executive director of the Major League Umpires Association, Richie Phillips. Bobby Brown, you've been accused by the umpires of being too lenient on Billy.
That's correct, Gary. I tried to assess the problems that Billy had on the field. I tried to do it objectively. I tried to use the same standard I use on most everybody. And I suspended him for 3 games and fined him, and my umpires didn't think that was sufficient.
Now, Pete Rose, I guess that would be the analogy, the 30-day suspension, the $10,000 fine. Do you think that is one of the reasons this leniency tag has been given to you?
Well, I can't answer that, but I think it's an improper analogy. I don't think that the 2 incidents were in any way the same. I think one where there was physical contact made that was voluntary, and I don't think that occurred in the incident that I dealt with.
Richie Phillips, you feel it is too lenient?
Yes, Gary, I think that Bobby, in meting out a penalty to Billy Martin, ought to take into account the fact that Billy Martin is, in fact, the quintessential recidivist in baseball. And I think that Bobby, in deciding on the penalty, has to take into account his past history. He disagrees with that, and I think that's our basic difference.
Now, you said that Billy must act like an older boy, keep his arms folded and his lips shut. Where is the line going to be drawn?
When I speak, I'm speaking figuratively, of course, Gary. The rules of baseball will be enforced by the umpires. Rule 902A provides that the umpire's decision on fair, foul, strike, ball, safe out, those decisions are all final and cannot be argued by the managers. The umpires always extend the courtesy to the managers to come out to argue those calls. The same courtesies will not be afforded to Billy because of Billy's behavior over the past 19 years toward the umpires. And Billy will not be allowed the right to carry on as he has in the past.
So you're saying Billy Martin will be treated differently the rest of the year?
We're saying that Billy Martin will be treated differently, and he deserves to be treated differently because of his own conduct. His conduct has made things such that the umpires no longer should provide him with privileges and courtesies, and the umpires will have to protect themselves against this kind of behavior.
So you've talked to your crew, I assume. What have you told them to look for?
Well, I've talked to Jim McKean, the crew chief here tonight, and Jim's been in touch with me for several days on this. I don't look for Billy to come out tonight. I think that the Yankees will send somebody else out with the lineup. I think Billy will, in fact, behave like an altar boy for tonight. We'll see how long he continues to do this. If he continues to do it, everybody's ahead. I think it'll be good for Billy. I think it'll be great therapy for him.
Bobby, your final reaction to that?
I just think that we're going to get a good game. I think this is going to settle down, and I think everybody's going to play the way they should and umpire the way they should.
So that's the story here from Yankee Stadium. You can see the different opinions. You can see some of the tension that's starting to build here. Well, we're going to go back now for you that were watching that Dodgers-Astros game in Los Angeles and Dodger Stadium. We'll go back now out west, and let's join now Al Michaels. And so the stage is set here. The first meeting between the Red Sox and the Yankees. The left-hander, Bruce Hurst, with his 12th start going for the both Sox. Neil Allen, his first start of the year. We'll be back to the starting lineup. ABC's Monday Night Baseball. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. By AT&T, the right choice. By Raisin Squares, cereal with real raisins in the middle. And by Stroh's and Stroh Light. Now you're talking good times. And Stroh's is spoken here. There's the skipper of the Yankees, Billy Martin. He did not appear until very late. In fact, as we were interviewing both Richie Phillips and Dr. Bobby Brown, he was nowhere to be seen. But he showed up in the dugout. Let's go now to the starting lineups for this game. These two old rivals, Wade Boggs leading off at third base. Marty Barrett, who was ejected from the game yesterday at second. Perks batting in the third spot in center field. Dwight Evans back in right field now after playing at first earlier this year. Greenwell will be the DH. Jim Rice still looking for his first home run in left field. Rich Gedman, the veteran catcher. And then Pat Dodson, who was called up on Saturday, his third straight start at first base. And Spike Owen will be the shortstop.
And the Yankees defense will have Dave Winfield in right field. Jay Buhner will be the center fielder. Ricky Henderson is in left field. Mike Pagliarulo is the third baseman. Rafael Santana will be the shortstop. Willie Randolph is back in the lineup at second. Gary Ward is at first base. Joel Skinner will do the catching. And on the mound, right-hander Neil Allen.
Neil Allen is coming off of a splendid performance that coming against the Oakland A's. He came in relief of Al Leiter, who was hit by a line drive off the bat of Carney Lansford. He came in then and pitched shutout ball, retiring 19 A's in a row and giving up only 3 hits.
Well, the thing he had going that afternoon was he had excellent control.
Well, the umpires, of course, very important every game, but certainly an emphasis tonight. That's Mark Johnson, who will be at first base. At second base, the crew chief, Jim McKeon. At third base will be Mike Riley. And calling balls and strikes for this game tonight at Yankee Stadium will be John Shulak. So I would imagine they feel a little tension tonight, Joe.
There is definitely a lot of tension here in Yankee Stadium. I have to disagree with Richie Phillips. I think if there's a play that Billy Martin wants to argue, I think he will come out and argue.
There's Shulak, who will be behind the plate, as Wade Boggs will lead things off for the Red Sox. And the Red Sox, a team that's just not producing runs. They're last in the American League in home runs with 25. Boggs has only 1 home run himself.
Well, I think it shows you that a batting average is overrated.
Allen, the right-hander, starts him out with a strike. Now, Neil Allen does something that's very peculiar to him. He hides his pitches well. He really hides his hands.
He actually drops his hands below his front leg.
Hard to pick up that delivery as it evens at 1 ball and a strike.
And he also hesitates a little bit there, and I think that's what throws the hitter off. And then when he comes over the top with the good curveball, it's awfully tough to hit.
Right-hander, the 1-1 pitch to Boggs, and the count goes to 2-1.
But I think the key to Neil Allen's success tonight will be whether he has good control of the fastball, being able to move it on the inside corner and move it back on the outside corner, because he always has an excellent curveball.
2-1 to Boggs, and it evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Who would have thought, Joe Morgan, that these Red Sox could not score runs? They have 5 guys batting over 300 and 2 at 299. 2-2 pitch to Boggs. It's full now.
But I think it shows again that a batting average is really a personal, individual thing. You make 7 outs out of 10, you're still hitting 300. But if you make those 7 outs with men in scoring position, you're not going to drive in runs.
There's a single to right. Coming over and coming up with the ball is Dave Winfield, and Boggs is on to the leadoff single. That'll bring up Marty Barrett. Barrett was ejected from a game yesterday. In fact, it's the first innings he's missed all year long for this Red Sox team. So Allen already in a little bit of trouble with Boggs down at first.
Well, as you mentioned, the Red Sox will get a lot of hits. They had about 13 hits yesterday and only scored a couple of runs. That has been their problem, not hitting with men in scoring position.
Barrett, you can see his average. He's one of those 299 hitters that we're referring to. Very tough to strike out. The lead at first by Boggs. Ward holding off, and Allen falls behind. 1 ball, no strike. 60-year-old Billy Martin. We were there the night that he attacked the umpire, drew the 3-day suspension. He tried to kick dirt, couldn't. The infield was too wet, so he threw dirt, and the $1,000 fine and the 3-day suspension. Barrett looks at a call strike, and the count goes to 1-1. Marty Barrett out of Arizona State. There were 11 players this year, opening day, who played at Arizona State, and you're familiar with that club, Joe, just coming from the College World Series.
Right. There are a lot of players performing in the major leagues now that were in the College World Series the last couple of years. There's John McNamara. He's the guy on the hot seat, I believe, in Boston.
1-1 to Barrett. High fly ball, left field. Drifting over is Ricky Henderson. With 1 out, as Boggs will have to retreat back to first base. Ellis Burks will now be coming up for the Red Sox. Burks, you look at his statistics, 333, 4 home runs as Barrett retreats to the dugout. But he's been battling injuries all year long. He started out with ankle surgery. And despite all that, average-wise, he stayed right up there.
Well, John McNamara thinks that he's going to be the next big star for the Boston Red Sox. He has all the tools, and he has a great attitude.
He had a jammed left wrist that he missed 8 games with. Allen falling behind the hitter again, goes 1-0 on Ellis Burks. This is the guy that made Dave Henderson expendable. Now played with the Oakland A's. 1-0, grounded foul, and the count goes to 1-1. Just a gorgeous night for baseball. Temperature as we began this game at 76 degrees. Crowd expected around 35,000. The house that Ruth built. It's always something special to come to Yankee Stadium.
Did you get a chance to walk out and see the monument?
I didn't. I've been too busy trying to cover this umpire story. Did you get out there?
The first time I walked into Yankee Stadium, I ran to see the monument.
Well, they've moved him around a little bit. They've dressed him up. He used to be in the playing field. 1-1. Fly ball, right field. Winfield has this one gauged all the way. So after Boggs leads off with a single, there's 2 out. And that'll bring up to White Evans. Evans, at the start of this year, was the starting first baseman for the Red Sox. Then when he moved back to the right field spot, they made some changes. In fact, the changes this week, having Anderson and Horn sent down, Benziger put on the 15-day disabled list, bringing up the likes of Crouch, a left-handed pitcher, Dodson, who's starting at first. So it's affected Dwight Evans, and he's back in right field.
Well, most people think that he should be in right field. That's where the Red Sox have had their most success, is with Dwight Evans in right field. He's one of the best right fielders to ever play the game. So that's his natural position. He feels more comfortable out there, and they probably feel that he will hit better if he's playing in his natural position.
You can see by that he's hit Neil Allen very well. Neil Allen has had some great moments. including last Tuesday against Oakland. One-0 pitch, and excuse me swing, a line shot back, and the count evens at 1-1. When I talk about Neil Allen having some great moments, he was one of the premier relievers in the National League from about 80 to 82. He had 18 saves in 81, 22 saves in 80. Then he was traded to the Cardinals for Keith Hernandez, and I don't think St. Louis ever forgave Whitey Herzog for that. 1-1, popped up. Skinner coming over, Gary Ward coming over, and it's going to hit the top of the dugout. So the count goes to 1-2.
You see a big difference between Yankee Stadium and the Oakland Coliseum already. That ball would have been in play in Oakland.
There's Gary Ward. Ward taking over for the injured Don Mattingly. Ward on that road trip to the West after Mattingly was hurt in Seattle has been at first. He's 7 of 37 batting-wise. Trying to also replace a Gold Glove down at first. 2 down, 1-2. The count now to Evans. That one bounces up, and the count evens at 2-2. Mattingly expected back is coming Saturday. You talked to him. How's that rib cage coming along?
Well, he said he's starting to feel pretty good. He's waiting before he really tests it. I talked to him about it because I had a rib injury a few years back, and I gave him some of the remedies that I used that really worked for me, and I think he'll be all right in a few days.
Allen to check to the runner. 2-2 pitch on the way, and it's full. That's the second time he's gone full on a batter here in the top of the inning. Dewey Evans.
Neil Allen is a guy that does not pitch well from behind. He has to get out in front to be successful. He got behind Wade Boggs. Boggs got a base hit. He got ahead of Barrett. He got him out. He got ahead of Burke. He was able to get those two guys out because then he can throw his best pitch, which is a curveball, and he's able to get guys out. But if he gets behind in the count, he gets in trouble.
You see Ward backing off, not holding. Boggs down at first. 3-2-2 going. He's going, and it's grounded foul. So we started over again. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Boggs back to first. Well, Billy at least able to talk from the dugout. He may not be able to come out of it, huh?
He'll be out.
3-2 again. Shortstop, Santana. Long throw. And he's safe at first. Boggs down at second base.
I don't understand why Gary Ward tried to come off the bag to make a tag. The throw seemed to be on target. All he had to do was catch the ball. He might have had to reach into the first baseline a little bit, but this play should have been made by first baseman Gary Ward. The ball's grounded deep in the hole. It's a good play by Santana, and you see he throws the ball across the diamond. He has Dewey Evans. See, he's off the bag.
Well, Ward has struggled a little bit at first. You might recall in that game against Baltimore, there was some talk on that Pagliarulli throw that he should have gone off the bag to save that one. At that time, not coming up with a play, and so now with the error, we have runners on first and second. 2 down. And up at the plate, Mike Greenwell, the DH.
The question is, who gets the error?
Well, that's what I'm waiting on. There's no confirmation of that. And he's now 1-1 on Greenwell. Greenwell has been having some injury problems. He had a bad shoulder, and now coming out is going to be Art Fowler, the pitching coach for the Yankees. He sees something that is amiss with Neil Allen, so he'll come out and talk to the 30-year-old.
Well, I think what he sees is that Neil Allen is rushing his body. He's getting his body out in front of his arm. That's why his breaking ball is hanging, and that's why he's missing high with the fastball. He's not letting his arm catch up with his body.
Well, Neil Allen has won 2 of his last 3 outings, posting his first victory since '86 this season. That error, by the way, is going to go on Santana. Officially ruled as an error on Rafael Santana, putting runners now at first and second base. Do you agree with that?
Nope.
I can see in your face.
Well, the throw was right near the bag. All Gary Ward had to do was make the catch.
1-1 now on Greenwell with 2 down, and it's popped up. Pagliarulli at third base. That'll end the inning. So they lead 2-1, and Billy Martin's crew, despite the error, survived the top half of the first inning. We go to the bottom of the first, no score. Oregon, we go now to the bottom half of the first inning. Bruce Hurst will be facing the likes of Ricky Henderson, who will lead off, leading the major leagues in stolen bases. Willie Randolph, the captain, batting second. Jay Buhner, the rookie, his fourth start for the Yankees. Jack Clark, the DH. Dave Winfield back in right field after a day off. Gary Ward, the man, at first. Talia Rulo at third base. Santana, the shortstop, and Joel Skinner is catching.
And the defense for Boston will have Dwight Evans in right field. Ellis Burks is in center. Jim Rice is in left. Wade Boggs at third. Spike Owens is the shortstop. Marty Barrett is at second base. Pat Dotson and Rich Gedman and Bruce Hurst on the mound.
Well, Hurst with his 12th start, he got off to a great beginning. He was 5-0. And now he's won only one of his last 6 starts. And his nemesis has been the gopher ball. He's been getting up a lot of home runs. So he'll face Ricky Henderson. If he'd hit one out now, would tie the major league record for leadoff home runs. That record, of course, set by Bobby Bonds. And every time he comes up, presents a little bit of drama.
Eventually, he will pass Bobby Bonds.
Strike call to Ricky Henderson. Ricky with 41 stolen bases, far and above anybody in the major leagues. Gerald Young leading the National League, but he's way back there. Pettis with 24, second in the American. That goes to the backstop. Two balls and a strike.
One of the reasons Bruce Hurst gives up home runs is he throws a sinker. And when he starts to lose his control, he gets the sinker up, and the ball is hit out of the ballpark. As long as Bruce Hurst keeps the sinker down, he will pitch a fine ball game. He throws a sinker, a slow curve, a regular curve, and a changeup.
2-1 to Henderson, grounded foul, third base side. Well, many people, of course, remember Ricky Henderson, the 130 stolen bases with the Oakland A's, but a lot of people may not know that he became the all-time stolen base leader for the Yankees over the weekend. Went over 248, a record held by Hal Chase, a record that stood for 75 years. Count even 2-2 on Henderson.
And Bruce Hurst thought that was strike 3.
I'm sorry, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Full count now. And now, wait a minute, we got a man, Rice, coming out. They're going to hold up play. Something on the field. And so, third base umpire running over there, Mike Riley, stops play. Crowd of about 35,000 expected, and just ideal baseball weather. 3-2 now. And he fouls it off, and it stays full. Henderson will be followed by Randolph and Buhner. Hurst in 1986 beat the Mets twice in the World Series. Last year winning 15 games, a career high. (3-2). He walked him, and that's not what you want to do to start a ball game.
Well, it's not normal for Bruce Hurst to walk the leadoff hitter, and especially if it's Ricky Henderson, because now he presents a stolen base threat at first base, although Bruce Hurst has been able to contain Ricky pretty well throughout his career.
Well, Hurst being a left-hander, I would assume would be some confusion for Ricky Henderson, but Hurst, what kind of a move does he have?
Well, he doesn't really have an exceptional move. He has an adequate move, but you have to be able to read him in order to get a good jump.
There, the split screen. Henderson leading off. Dodson holding him on. The batter, Willie Randolph. The captain of the Yankees looks at a call strike. The one thing you always hear, Joe, about Ricky Henderson is he gets such great jumps.
Well, I think Ricky, guys that he can read well, he gets a great jump. But there are a lot of guys that confuse Ricky, a lot of left-handers that he does not get good jumps off of, and that's why he's been thrown out so many times.
Move over to first. He's got to get back. Thus far, Ricky's been caught 9 times. Hurst 6'3", 214 is Dodson holding him on. Oh, 1 pitch, bunt third base side, and it's going to stay fair. The throw to second, not in time. Wade Boggs was hoping for some help at third. It did not roll foul. He waited too long to make the play.
It's a real heads-up play here by Willie Randolph because he accomplishes 2 things. If he does not get a base hit himself, he will move Ricky over into scoring position. But he does better than that because Wade Boggs decides he's going to let it roll, and he's not able to get Ricky Henderson second base. I think Wade Boggs should have been in a little tighter.
So now 2 runners on, nobody out. A look at the all-star third baseman as that brings up the rookie Jay Buhner.
This is where you have to really watch Ricky Henderson. He can steal third off of a left-hander, and he will do so in a lot of occasions.
Berra trying to keep him close at second. Buhner, first ball hitting into left field, base hit. Henderson makes the turn at third. He will score easily. So Buhner getting a starting nod against the left-hander delivers. That is his 4th RBI of the year. He's at first now. Randolph down at second. There's still nobody out. 1-0 to Yankees and Jack Clark at the plate.
Already you see the difference between the Yankees and the Red Sox. The Yankees have been producing runs when they get men in scoring position, as evidenced by the fact that they scored 9 runs in the first inning yesterday. They produce runs. The Red Sox are not producing runs.
Boy, what a menacing situation now for Hurst. Jack Clark. Berra ducking in behind the runner, Randolph. Jack Clark spending a lot of time with you before the game, Joe. A little worried about some of the mechanics right now at the plate.
One of the things that Jack has a tendency to do is try to pull the ball too much. Jack is not content with just hitting it in the first row. He wants to hit it into the 30th row.
Boy, he was doing it in a batting practice. Pitch on the way to Clark. 1-0. Hurst struggling. 1 run is in. 2 runners are on. Nobody out of the bottom of the first.
There's John McNamara, manager of the Red Sox.
Well, they have a fan club in Boston who's very upset with McNamara. They call themselves Knife the Mac. That's the kind of pressure he has in the Boston area. 2-0.
As you can see, the Yankees produce runs in the first inning.
2-0 to Jack Clark. Hurst looks like he's trying to loosen up a little bit out there.
It's not so much that Bruce Hurst has struggled this first inning. The Yankees have executed very well. He only made a couple of bad pitches. Even to Ricky Henderson, he made some good pitches. Ricky just spoiled it.
Swing and a miss. 2-1.
And there he makes an excellent pitch to Jack Clark. He took a little off the fastball and got it on the outside corner, down and away.
Well, when you've lost 4 in a row, 9 of the last 12, sometimes you expect bad things to happen. Right now, the Red Sox not starting very well.
There you see an excellent pitch by Bruce Hurst.
2-1 on Jack Clark. That'll be into left field for a base hit. Randolph rounding third. He will score. 2-0, New York.
There you see John McNamara. He's starting to get worried already because he knows that his team does not score a lot of runs. And bounces like this really gets you in trouble. Jack Clark hits his ball hard, but he hits the top half of it. But it finds the hole, bounces over to third baseman Wade Boggs' head into left field for an RBI single. Yankees 2-0.
So Clark with his 32nd RBI of the year. And Dave Winfield at the plate. Winfield leads the American League in RBI. 2-0, New York. Still nobody out. At average, 370. Second best in the American League. Second best in the Major Leagues. What a 2-0.
That's what I mean by the Yankees really executing well. Bruce Hurst had just missed with 2 pitches to Dave Winfield, but he took them both. Now he has Hurst in the hole. They're not really swinging at pitchers' pitches right now. They're getting hitters' pitches to hit. 2-0, he has to give in. Not necessarily a fastball, but he has to give him a pitch to hit.
2-0, and it's a call strike. Winfield got yesterday off in that series with Baltimore. Jose Cruz replaced him in right, and now Barrett will come in. John Troutwine is warming up in the Red Sox bullpen. Barrett trying to settle down the veteran left-hander. Actually, the Red Sox first couple of starters, Clemens and Hurst, have been pretty effective. Where they have been in real trouble is going to those fourth and fifth starters. A lot of rainouts. They haven't had to go that deep, but eventually will before this season is over. 2-1 on Dave Winfield. Runners at first and second, 2 runs in. Owen to second for 1. The relay to first, the double play as Buhner advances to third.
That's the pitch he's been trying to get since the first batter of the inning. We got a good sinker down and away from Winfield. We'll take a look at it. This is a perfect double play. 6 to 4 to 3. Anytime you ground the ball near the bag in double play situation, it's almost impossible to beat it out at first base.
So Winfield, after the twin killing, brings up Gary Ward. Has a half swing, fouls it. Ward, of course, playing in place of Don Mattingly. 7 for 37 since becoming a starter.
One of the things that has surprised me is that Jack Clark has not been installed at first base while Mattingly is out. Jack Clark played first base for the Cardinals the last couple of years, and he's a pretty good defensive first baseman.
Well, we talked to Jack before the game. He'd like to play down there. He'd love to get the opportunity. Jack playing, of course, for the Cardinals last year at first base. He did have a disastrous 1 inning last year at St. Louis. Committed 3 errors in an inning, but he loves to play in the field. Tommy John, the left-hander, won his 281st game over the weekend.
And TJ pitches just like Bruce Hurst.
2-1 now to Gary Ward. Been a long inning for Bruce Hurst. 2 runs are in, 2 out, a runner at third. 3 base hits. It all started with a walk to Ricky Henderson. Slice foul. It evens at 2-2. To get back to Jack Clark, I would imagine, though, Joe, the reason they're not playing him at first is he is so fragile. He's been hurt so often. They'd like to avoid any complications in the field.
Well, I think that would be true if he played on AstroTurf, but here on dirt in Yankee Stadium and a lot of the ballparks in the American League, I think it's safe to play him at first base.
2-2, and it's full, 3-2, and that's happened a lot to Bruce Hurst. Billy Martin, after a 3-game suspension, a $1,000 fine a week ago tonight, it all happened in Oakland, is back. And his club right now jumps off to a 2-0 lead, and Ward stays alive. Billy's 60 years of age. McNamara, his counterpart, 56 as of this weekend.
Gary, one of the things that has remained constant in baseball is that if you do not get a good pitcher early, when you have the opportunities, it usually comes back to haunt you. Bruce Hurst is a good pitcher. They had a couple of chances to blow the game open here, and they scored 2 runs.
Foul back. It looked like Billy was trying to draw the attention of the umpires to Hurst not pausing in that wind-up and the stretch. Trying to get the balk, and he's been known to do that, to intimidate people a little bit.
I don't think he'll get that call today. Not in the first inning. Maybe
he's not
later
come
in the
out
ball
anyway
game.
to do it, right? 3-2, and he struck him out. Well, the Yankees able to score a pair of runs on 3 base hits. Hurst struggles. We'll return to Yankee Stadium after this message and a word from our local station. Yankees 2-0, picking up those 2 runs at the bottom of the first inning on a walk and 3 base hits. And here comes Jim Rice to the plate, and quite a story developing. Jim Rice still looking for his first home run of the year. Who would have thunk that we'd be in the beginning of June and this guy had not hit a home run yet?
Well, Jim Rice has not been able to swing the bat with the same consistency that he has in the past. I talked to Jim before the ball game. Jim says that he has problems seeing the ball on occasion, but not enough that it is forcing him to wear glasses. There are a lot of people on the Red Sox that feel that he should try to wear some glasses, but he says he has not been able to adjust to the glasses. He's used them in batting practice, but not in the game.
Now back 1-2. Jim Rice has 364 career home runs. He led the majors in 1978 with 46, had 39 in 77 and 39 in 83. He's been a major force in baseball. And right now, it's amazing to see him look for that first home run. And he goes down swinging to begin things here in the top of the second inning.
Well, he started to pull off a little bit. He was late on the first couple of fastballs, and then he chased a breaking ball. He tried to get the bat out front and pulled away. We're going to look at it here. Watch his front shoulder, his front side. See there, it's already gone right there. That's the reason that he had problems with that particular pitch.
Mike. Rich Gedman at the plate. The catcher rounds at first base. Ward goes unassisted. There's two down. That'll bring up Pat Dodson. Dodson, in the shakeup that the Red Sox had this week, trying to get some offense going, bringing Dodson up. He's been up before in the big leagues. He was the International League's most valuable player in '86, a 28-year-old. This is his third straight start. So very quickly, two away in the top of the second. Neil Allen, who struggled a little bit in the first but got out of it all right, starts him out with a strike. The Red Sox went to their youth movement last year. Center field, base hit. So Dodson with two down is on. That'll bring up Spiko in the shortstop. But the Red Sox got off to a shaky start after winning the pennant in '86. Then they went to their youth movement, brought in the Greenwells, the Benzingers, the Horns. And I guess the question that they must be posing to themselves right now is maybe they went to that youth movement too quickly, because the Red Sox have not picked up where they had played the last 2 months of the season with all those young kids. Owen has 3 home runs and has 70 less at-bats than Jim Rice.
You're right. Who would have thunk it?
Down at first, Johnson with 2 down. 1-0 now to Spiko on the switch hitter.
People always feared going into Boston because of the Green Monster and the Boston Red Sox attack. Now, the fact that they're last in the majors in home runs, everyone wants to go in there because they figure their hitters can handle the Green Monster better than the Boston Red Sox do.
2-0 on Owen. Amazingly, early this week, a statistic came out. The Green Monster in Fenway, the opponent that hit 15 home runs over it, the Red Sox only 8. 2-0 pitch, and he's behind 3-0. And Allen upset himself that time.
This is the problem that Neil Allen has had throughout his career. He'll be going along, sailing along, pitching a great ball game. All of a sudden, he seems to lose concentration or lose his rhythm. And when he does that, he may throw 6 or 8 balls in a row or get himself in trouble and have to come into one of the big sluggers.
He takes it all the way, 3-1.
But when Neil Allen has been able to throw strikes throughout his career, he's been a fine pitcher.
Well, some people feel that he has as good a stuff as anybody on the staff. And if he can get it where he wants it, look out. 3-1 pitch now to Owen, and he walked him. So Spike Owen will go down to first. Dobson to second with 2 down. On the top of the order, Wade Boggs, his single, will come up. Martin started to squirm a little bit, and they may start something in the bullpen. Boggs coming into this game, leading the major leagues in walks with 46. Moved up to that leadoff position, trying to get somebody on the base paths.
Really, Wade prefers to hit third, but the team is struggling, so he'll do anything to try to help the team get started.
Last time he went 3-2 on Boggs before he walked him. This time he starts him out with a strike. Neil Allen last year was 0-7 with the White Sox, 0-1 with the Yankees. And it's battled back this year. Second base, and Randolph is there. And that will end the inning. No runs. They pick up one hit as the captain of the Yankees ends the top of the second inning for Neil Allen. Yankee Stadium, bottom of the second. Mike Pagliarulo will lead things off. Now, Joe, let's go back to your thesis about sometimes batting average isn't all that important. It's how you produce. And Pagliarulo has 40 RBIs, even though he's only batting .217.
Well, my theory is to be a good player, you either have to score runs or drive in runs. The great players do both. Willie Mays drive in 100, score 100. So you don't expect guys to do that. But a guy that hits 300 does not always help his team nearly as much as a guy that produces runs. And if you look at Pagliarulo, you'll see that he's produced more runs than any other player on the Boston Red Sox with his .217 average.
He'll ground out this time, and there's one away. Pags had experimented being a switch hitter in the spring, but staying on the left-hand side, and we have one down. That's going to bring up Rafael Santana, the shortstop.
Rafael Santana.
Santana struggling at the plate. 3 of 28 in the last 7 games. Here's a guy who's been embroiled in a little controversy. I think it's almost unique if you're not involved in some controversy at this Yankee ball club.
Or New York, period.
I liked your line. It's just like a traffic jam. You expect to have it, huh, in
Right.
New York?
Whether it's the Mets or the Yankees, you will have controversy.
Center field, and back in position is Ellis Burks. 2 away. That'll bring up, at even the 9th position, the catcher Joel Skinner.
You had Richie Phillips on. You should have asked him about Rafael Santana's statement that all the umpires in the American League were bad.
You think he'll get any calls the rest of his career?
I couldn't believe that he made that statement, especially after only being over here a couple of months.
Joel Skinner, who's had a couple of home runs on that 12-game road swing. He'll come up. Skinner hitting .209. Joel has been working hard at relaxing at the plate. He was squeezing the bat too tight, lunging at the ball. We've been trying to get him to settle back. He's so big and strong. That caught the outside corner. 1-1. This guy defensively is as good as anybody playing in the majors. Strong arm, good student of the game. And if his hitting would ever come up to his defensive abilities, the catching situation in New York would be superb. Swing and a miss, and the count goes to 1-2. Last 2 years, the combined catching for the Yankees, they've hit a combined .209. Gives you an idea of how unproductive they've been at the plate. One and two, called third strike. So it's a 3-up and 3-down inning. Bruce Hurst, after giving up 2 runs in the first, this time shuts him down in order. The Yankees, 2 runs on 3 hits. One of our features this year on ABC's the best line of the week. And it goes to Gerald Perry, the first baseman of the Atlanta Braves. He went 5 for 5 on June 1st. 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. This guy has been playing a complete game for the Braves. Stealing bases, and just yesterday went 3 for 3. But our best line of the week to Gerald Perry, and later we'll have the worst line of the week. Marty Barrett leads things off here in the top half of the third. He'll be followed by Ellis Burks and Dwight Evans. Barrett wide out to left the first time. Neil Allen protecting a 2-0 lead. Thus far, 2 runs, 3 hits, and error for the Yankees. Red Sox, no runs and 2 hits.
I think this is a very key inning for Neil Allen because he lost his concentration a little bit in the second, and he has to gain it back. Because, as I mentioned, in order for him to be effective, he has to be able to throw the curveball. He cannot pitch from behind.
So Marty Barrett, a tough man to strike out, has a 1-2 count on him as he leads things off. Line to left, and he's on, and that's the 3rd hit of the game for the Red Sox. Well, Toronto's starting to play much better baseball. They've won 6 in a row. They were tough on the Red Sox, and right now in the 4th, leading Cleveland. Cleveland now 2.5 back of the Yankees, but I think the Indians are for real.
Well, I think the Indians are for real because their pitching has been a pleasant surprise for them. But I look for Toronto to play well before the season's over. They have too much talent there.
Ellis Burks up. Fly ball, left field. Henderson hustling over near the warning track. It's over his head. Bounces up against the wall. Barrett will go into third, and Burks with a stand-up double at second.
Rickey did not get a good jump on this ball. I think it surprised him. He didn't think it was hit quite as hard as it was. The ball goes over his head, but if you see he's running across, now he starts back. He should have started back from the moment the ball was hit. See, he ran across the field and then back. You cannot do that and catch a ball in the major leagues. The ball was hit too hard.
So Rickey allows Burks to register his 11th double of the year. Evans is up, 2 on and nobody out. Tying run down at second base. Evans reached on an error back in the 1st inning. Time as he backs out of there. That left center field area has been shortened this year by some 11 feet. And Henderson still not able to get to that spot to come up with the ball. Fastball, and it's 0-1. 1 strike on Dewey Evans. On deck, the DH, Mike Greenwell.
There you can see the Yankees infield is playing back. They're going to give the run to the Red Sox if there's a ground ball to the infield.
Adenoshin got a piece of it.
One of the things that Neil Allen has tried to do to Dwight Evans both times is pitch him in tight. Evans likes the ball out over the plate so he can extend his arms, and he's trying to stay in tight to try to get ahead of him, then he'll throw him the breaking ball away if he can do so.
Evans last year just had a career year for the Red Sox. Popped up. Randolph going back to the outfield. Very high. A bluff move by Barrett produces a throw to home. Skinner there to stop it.
That was good pitching by Neil Allen. 2 fastballs in, and then he threw the breaking ball away. And it's tough to adjust because he was looking for the ball inside, and he threw him a curveball away. Didn't have a good swing.
Big out for Neil Allen. 1 out. And here comes Greenwell. Greenwell popped up the first time. Now Fowler's going to come out again to visit with Neil Allen, along with Skinner. Fowler, of course, has been alongside Billy Martin each step of the way.
What he wants to remind him of is the fact that first base is open, and Jim Rice is the next hitter, and Jim Rice has hit into more double plays than most Red Sox in the history of the franchise.
You know how many he's hit into? 300 in his career. The record is 311. And I'm surprised it was Carl Yastrzemski that has the record.
Well, the reason Yastrzemski hit into a lot of double plays is he hit a lot of balls up the middle. And anytime you have runner on first base and you hit a ground ball up the middle, it's almost a cinch double play. He was not strictly a pull hitter till later in his career.
So Greenwell with a chance now to do some damage with 1 down. Runners at second and third. Misses outside. Barrett at third. Out at second is Burks. Boy, the Red Sox, it's just so hard to scratch out anything. They just can't get any run.
Well, they get runners in scoring position because they get a lot of hits, but they're not able to cross the plate with a base hit.
That caught the outside corner. 1-1.
We'll get a chance to see what Art Fowler told Greenwell here. Told Neil Allen how to pitch Greenwell, I should say.
Rounded foul, and the count goes to 1-2. Well, should Greenwell get on, it would bring up Rice, and Rice has had a dismal year with the bases loaded. He's been up to the plate 10 times with the bases loaded and hasn't gotten the ball out of the infield. He did walk on 3 occasions. I will give him credit for that.
I tell you what, you do not want to face Jim Rice too often with the bases loaded.
One-two, and the count now goes to 2-2.
And I think he crossed Skinner up. That's why he's going out to talk to him. I think Skinner called a fastball, and he threw him a breaking ball. When you get a runner on second base, you change the signs by rubbing your shin guard, which says you go to the first sign. You hit your chest protector, which means the second sign. And they had a little confusion there.
And then you forget what you're supposed to throw, right? 2-2 with one out. Runners at second and third. Greenwell's going to back out of there. He leads the Red Sox in home runs with 6. Grounded, fair ball into the right field corner. Barrett will score. Burks will come home. It's a tie ball game into second with a double to Greenwell.
Most left-handed hitters like the ball down and in. And he got a curveball down and in, and he grounds it inside the bag. Gary Ward is playing wide of the bag, as you can see there, and the ball goes down in the corner. 2 RBIs. We'll have a tie ball game.
RBIs 33 and 34. Still one out. And here comes Rice, who struck out back in the second. 12th double of the year for Greenwell. Starts him with a strike. Sometimes you just need to get over the hump. And a ball hit inside the line like that can get you over the hump. Get the Red Sox scoring some runs. You got to believe it's going to happen sooner or later. 0-1 pitch to Rice. Hesitation swing. Didn't have much on. 0-2.
Well, Jim Rice continues to pull his front shoulder off the pitch, which pulls his head off the pitch. And anytime you do that, you're not going to be able to handle the breaking ball.
Boy, that goose egg is just hard to believe it's there, isn't it? No home runs. 0-2 to Rice. Fouls it back. There's been a lot said about Jim Rice not wearing glasses. A lot of people feel that possibly his vanity has gotten in the way of not wearing the glasses.
Watch his front shoulder and watch his head. His front shoulder pulls off and his head moves. You try to keep your head as still as possible in the swing.
0-2 to the veteran. Grounded down the first base side. Ward will go unassisted. And going to third on the play is Greenwell. That is just not the Jim Rice you expect to see. He just isn't up there swinging with any confidence at all.
Well, I would have to think that he's not seeing the ball well. And that doesn't mean glasses or whatever. It just means that he's not picking the ball up from the pitcher as well as he should.
Well, the question I guess you have to ask, he's 35 years old. Age starting to maybe come into play a little bit. Gedman is up with 2 down, a runner at third. The go-ahead run at third, and Mike Greenwell. 1-0 to Gedman. Gedman the last time grounded out unassisted to first. Skinner snap throw to third. They dropped the ball. They had him, and Pagliarulo dropped the ball. They nailed him. It looks like Greenwell's shaken up a little bit, maybe.
Greenwell did a good thing, though, Sam. I mean, he went back on the inside of the base. Watch, he shields Skinner from the third baseman. He cannot see him, right? See, he's on the inside of the bag, and that's what blocks the throw.
Do you think he had him if he had held on?
Oh, he definitely had him. The throw had him beat.
Boy, Skinner has an arm. Greenwell breathes a sigh of relief at third. That would have been embarrassing to have your go-ahead run picked off at third in that situation. 2-1 now on Gedman. Gedman just hasn't put the numbers together since he didn't sign a year ago until May 1st. Popped up. Skinner with a chance. But the Red Sox able to come back. Tie it up. It's 2-2 as Allen now has given up 5 hits. 2-2 our score. Joe Morgan is talking about keeping your head still. Well, that same thing happens in golf. You got to keep your head still over the ball. And Saturday begins on ABC Sports with third-round golf coverage of the Mazda Senior TPC. Live except on the West Coast. And then Jack Nicklaus looks at the greatest 18 holes of major championship golf. And on a special edition of ABC's Wide World of Sports, the Chrysler Triple Crown Challenge concludes. Kentucky Derby champion, Winning Colors, and Preakness champion, Risen Star, duel for $1 million bonus. It's the 120th running of the Belmont Stakes. Left-hander Bruce Hurst starts Ricky Henderson out with a swinging strike, 0-1. Henderson loves to play for Billy Martin. He probably misses Billy Martin more than any player possibly in the history of Martin's managerial career. Slow curve, and the count evens at 1-1.
Gary, anyone that's followed Ricky Henderson's career understands that. He set the stolen base record under Billy Martin. Billy Martin turned him loose. Billy Martin knows Ricky so well, he kind of caters to Ricky a little bit, and he gets the best out of Ricky. Percentage-wise, over 162-game schedule, he's played more for Billy than he has any of the other managers he's ever played for. He's played in like 92% of the ball games that Billy Martin has managed when he was the manager, when he was playing for him. But against the other managers, he's only played in like 75%.
He's hit .317 for Martin, .261 for other managers. That might substantiate what you're saying. 2-2 now on Henderson. Ricky letting that ball get by him for the double. Now leading things off, walking and scoring a run back in the first. That's headed to center field, hustling in. A nice running catch is made by Ellis Burks. Burks has played very well in center field.
Well, Bruce Hurst throws a high sinker. It's away from Ricky, and Ricky goes the other way with it. He hits it hard, but Burks gets a good jump on it. As you can see, he's already moving once the ball is hit, and he makes sure of the catch. He didn't have to dive, but he made sure.
A little flair out there. I mean, he's just a second-year guy, Joe. He's got to have a little liberty, right?
Well, that's only for guys like Ricky Henderson. He's only supposed to put a little flair in it.
Okay. Here's the guy who's got a flair, the captain of the Yankees, Willie Randolph. You know, last week we were talking about how he struggled, the slowest start of his career, hitting below 200. But a lot of that, I think, has to be because of the wrist that he has. He has a very sore wrist, and as you've said so many times, Joe, when you get those hands hurt, those wrists hurt, it really affects you.
You can play with your legs hurt, you can play with other parts of your body hurt. But you cannot be an aggressive hitter when your hands are injured.
He's had hamstring problems. He's had the wrist that's bothered him. He came in here hitting .194. He singled back in the first and scored a run. When this guy does not play, the Yankees just aren't the same team.
Well, they miss his leadership more than anything else, I believe. He is a true leader on the infield.
1-2, called, third strike. 2 down, and that'll bring up Buhner, who singled a drive and a run back in the first inning. So Hurst getting a little stronger. You made a good point, Joe. A guy like Hurst, if you got a chance to put him away early, you better do it.
And the Yankees let him off the hook in the first inning by only scoring the 2 runs. And a guy like that, he gets stronger as the ball game goes along because he gets better rhythm. And Hurst knows exactly what he wants to do with each hitter. And as the game goes along, he's able to do that.
Third strikeout for Hurst. Buhner, big, strong first-year man, 6'3", 205. He's only 22 years of age. They feel that Buhner may have the strongest arm of any outfielder they have. Now, that's saying something when you got guys like Winfield. Wind starting to gust through Yankee Stadium. Have to hold it up momentarily. Buhner got his first start 2 weeks ago against the A's. This is his 4th overall. One misses, and it's 1-1. They started the year with Roberto Kelly playing a lot of center field. You can see how this wind gusting, blowing out. 1-1 to Buhner, grounded foul, third base side. Clete Boyer just let that one go by. He didn't let very many of those go by when he's playing third base. There he is. He took over for Billy a week ago tonight when Billy was ejected, and then Mike Ferraro became the manager during the suspension, which I thought was kind of interesting. Struck him out. So that will take care of the Yankees. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 4 for Bruce Hurst. It's all even at 2 after 3.
Ladies and gentlemen,
2-2 our score after 3. There are 12 numbers retired for the New York Yankees. One was Joe DiMaggio, and here is a piece of lumber that he used. How's that feel, Joe? You think you could have hit with that?
Well, it feels great. It's about 35 inches and about 34 ounces. I let Jack Clark pick it up. He liked it. I let Ricky Henderson swing it. Both of them enjoyed the bat. They said they could hit with it.
You think there's some hits left in it?
I tell you what, if I'd have had it when I was playing, I would have tried it. Joe DiMaggio might have left a couple of hits in there.
Well, he still has a record that many feels the finest of all time, that 56-game hitting streak. Dodson leading things off for the Red Sox. He has a 1-1 count on him. Pat Dodson, 28 years old. He's big, 6'4", 220. He's singled back in the second inning. Throws left as well as bats left-handed. Fouls it back, and the count goes to 1-2. When you think about the numbers that are retired for the Yankees, you think of DiMaggio and Ruth and Gehrig and so on and so forth. It's absolutely amazing. Joe D, of course, by many, maybe the most popular of all. Who knows? It's hard to say who of all time would go down in that department. Gehrig, retired number 4, DiMaggio 5, Ruth 3. 2-2 to Dodson, hits sharply. Ward plays it very well. Well, let's go out now to left center field and just kind of reminisce. There's Gehrig, number 4. Ruth, number 3. There's Joe D. Mick, Casey Stengel. Now, there were 2 number 8s, Bill Dickey and Yogi Berra. That might confuse people a little bit. They were both catchers, of course, for the Yankees. Whitey Ford, number 16. Boy, there's some great Elston Howard. There's Roger Maris. Phil Rizzuto. I used to be in a tractor in western Kansas. Used to act like I was broadcasting from Yankee Stadium during all those years. I didn't go back to Ruth. I'm not that old.
Number 15 we saw was Thurman Munson. He was a captain of the Yankees for a while.
Mike Owen grounds it foul, and the count goes to 0-2.
I think tradition is one of the greatest things about baseball. And the Yankees have the greatest tradition of all the clubs I've ever seen. When you walk into Yankee Stadium, you get a feeling that Ruth and Gehrig and these guys are still here. It's that impressive.
0-2 now to Spike Owen. Chopper over the mound. Handoff's going to hurry, but he can't get there. They got to rule that a base hit.
That was a tough play. Spike Owen runs well. And Willie Randolph charged the ball. He almost came up with it. Even if he makes the play cleanly, I'm not sure if he would have been able to get Spike. He runs very well down the line.
So with 1 down and 1 on, we go down to the top of the order. Wade Boggs is singled and lined out. Boggs with Barrett due next. 2-2 our score. 6 hits for the Red Sox, 3 for the Yankees. The Yankees committing 1 error. That coming on shortstop Rafael Santana. Pitch misses outside. Boggs this year struggled early, and he is so superstitious. He was changing his T-shirts, his underwear, his socks, shoes, doing everything he could to get back into that groove. Of course, he continued to eat the chicken. He never quit eating that.
I think most players will tell you they are not superstitious, but in reality, all players are superstitious.
3-0. Mets leading St. Louis. The Cardinals played very well on the road. They won 7 out of 10. They didn't gain any ground on the Mets. Now they got to start doing that. Tonight would be a good time for them to begin. 3-1. What was your main superstition, Joe?
Well, if I got a hit wearing one sweatshirt, I'd wear it until I didn't get any hits. And I think most players are that way.
I bet you were fun to be around the clubhouse. 3-1, line to center field. Spike Owen will make the turn. He's headed to third. Then he puts on the brakes, and they pick him off at second.
This is a sign of a team that's not playing very well. They're unsure of themselves. Spike Owens should have gone to third all the way. This was a clean base hit, as you see. He should have rounded second, not hesitate, and he would have made it easily to third base. But indecision will cost you every time.
Very good throw. This is what you're talking about, Buhner's arm.
Right, well, he came up. He was going to throw to third, and I think that's exactly what happened. Out of respect for Buhner's arm is the reason that they were undecided.
Well, to further substantiate what you're saying, here's the Red Sox with 7 hits, and they have only 2 runs.
Right.
That's been their problem all year long. Barrett at the plate. Barrett, the first time, flied out, then he singled. Back in the 3rd inning, 1 for 2. So Owen erased at second, Boggs down at first with a base hit. Did I say Barrett? It was Owen that was raced at second. Heads up play by Buhner, and that's that arm that is so well advertised for this Yankee team. 2-0.
The real problem there is that Spike Owens is probably the only Red Sox that can go from first to third consistently. And he got on base, you should use his speed. They did not use it.
Barrett now hitting .301 after going 1 for 2. So that would give them 6 batters now hitting .300 or better on this Red Sox team. Yet only 25 home runs. 3-0.
As I said at the beginning, I don't think it's really the lack of home run production that's hurt them as much as not hitting in the clutch and making mental mistakes as they did on the bases. If you're hitting in the clutch, even if they're singles, you're going to score a lot of runs, especially with 5 300 hitters.
There's the strike. 3-1. So Allen with a great assist from his center fielder Buhner has 2 out. 3-0, 3-1 rather, on Marty Barrett at the plate. Boggs at first with Ward. Strike 2. Three and 2, the runner will be going. 2 out. That's Burks. Fly ball, left field. Henderson drifting back near the warning track, and that'll put the Red Sox away. So Boston picks up 2 more hits, but they do not score a run. It's all even, and Neil Allen got some help in the field. There's the boss, Bruce Springsteen, who is from the New Jersey area.
Designated hitter, Jack Clark.
You like his music?
I don't listen to music that much. I'm a jazz person. I'm not a real hot rock person.
Come on, Morgan. You got to get with it. George is also the boss. You saw George Steinbrenner, the boss. There's 2 bosses. I should have probably restated that one. Here's Jack Clark. 1 strike on him. You know, you talked about the mechanics of Jack, the fact that he's working on keeping that shoulder in. He's still feeling his way around the league.
Well,
Come over from the National League.
I think it's tougher to go from the National League to the American League than it would be from the American League to the National League. First of all, because in the American League, they use more off-speed pitches. They throw more breaking balls, and you need to know how much a guy's ball breaks before you can really adjust to it. Whereas in the National League, they come at you hard with the fastball, and you have a tendency to have to just react to the pitch rather than adjust to it.
A menacing swing, 1 and 2. One thing about Jack, he can look terrible on one pitch, and the next just take you downtown.
Well, Jack is a lot smarter hitter than people give him credit for. A lot of people think he just goes up and swings. Jack gauges the pitcher. He understands what he's doing in the batter's box.
There's a shot to left and curving foul.
And that was the pitch he looked so bad on the pitch before. But I still think Jack needs to use the middle of the field a little more. He's pulling the ball too much. As I said, he tries to hit the ball in the 30th row when the first row will do.
Well, he said there's never a dull moment with the Yankees. Misses, and the count evens at 2 and 2. He was walking into the driveway as we came up to Yankee Stadium, and he said, boy, he says, I come here and I never know what to expect. He'd like to be playing first base. 2-2 to Jack Clark. Big cut. So the leadoff man erased, and that's 5 strikeouts.
This is a good pitch from Bruce Hurst. It's a big, slow curveball, but as we saw with Jim Rice, you'll see Jack Clark's front shoulder pull out and watch his head. His head goes right with it. If you don't keep your head in, you can't hit. It's that simple.
Dave Winfield, who grounded into that double play back in the first. Here's Toronto, Cleveland, even now at 2 in the 5th. Ripken with a 3-run home run. Tigers have been very consistent. Minnesota leading the White Sox. Minnesota's won 5 in a row on the road, a place they didn't fare very well a season ago. Winfield's average now 368. Swing, and the count goes now to 1-1. And Texas leading California. Boy, the Angels really struggling out west. Interestingly enough, Winfield with 12 home runs and Clark with 11 have only 2 less than the entire Red Sox team.
There's been a lot said about the Red Sox batters' batting style. Walt Rainiac is the hitting coach, and he teaches what a lot of people refer to as a helicopter swing. By that I mean he keeps his head, you keep your head still, and you kind of wind the bat around the back. What that really does, it keeps your head still, but it keeps you from driving the ball. You hit a lot of balls the opposite way, and that's what the Red Sox players are doing. You get a lot of singles that way, but you're not going to hit for much power, and I think that's one of the criticisms of his hitting style.
There he is,
There's
Walt
Rainiac.
Rainiac. Yep.
Walt and I played together in the minor leagues, and I've known him for a long time, and he's always had that theory of hitting.
3-1 to Winfield. Straightaway center. Buhner's there. I should say Burks is there. And there's 2 out. It'll bring up Gary Ward.
First baseman,
So
Gary
Winfield
Ward.
erased on his first 2 trips. Kansas City, 2-0. Now, the Royals early in the year were playing miserably at home, but they'd like to turn that around, and with Oakland coming in there, somebody's going to have to start beating the A's. A 10-game lead.
I don't think anyone can catch them. I think the only way the Western Division has a chance is if the A's come back to the pack, because no one can go out and catch them.
Mike Owen behind second. That'll retire the side. The last 2 innings now. Hurst has gone through the order. 2-2 our score. After 4, we'll return to Yankee Stadium after this message and news headlines from our local station.
Tickets for all Yankee home games.
Back at Yankee Stadium, and they're playing some of the boss's music. The fans recognize him down that third base line.
Center fielder.
Thought we were going to have a mass riot over there for a minute. He's out of what? Is it Freehold, New Jersey? I believe that's his hometown. Across the river.
You've got me there.
Well, you don't listen to his music anyway. I'm not going to tell him that. Ellis Burks will lead things off. Burks will be followed by Dwight Evans and Mike Greenwell. We're all even at 2. Thus far in this ball game, Neil Allen has given up 2 runs, 7 hits, struck out 1, and walked 1. And Burks has one of those base hits that coming back in the 3rd inning.
But as you mentioned before, they do get a lot of hits, but they're not driving in any runs. They're just not scoring runs.
That's interesting what you say about Rainiac. Now, would he style the team around Fenway Park?
Well, if you really watch, I don't think it's styled around Fenway Park. He's just teaching guys to hit a certain way.
2-0 now to Burks. And right at Willie Randolph. 1 down, and Evans will come up. Evans reached on an error and popped up to the second baseman. There's that famous facade at Yankee Stadium. I don't know about you, Joe, but it's kind of special always to come here. They renovated this place. Closed it down in 74, 75 when the Yankees moved over to Shea. They talk about being the house that Ruth built. The first day they opened this ballpark, Babe Ruth hit a home run.
The Babe had a flair for the dramatics anyway.
He had a little ability, too.
Yes.
Evans up 0 for 2.
It's kind of interesting. They don't call guys the Babe and things like that anymore. Nicknames are kind of obsolete in baseball. That's one of the things that I dislike about the new guard.
That's short center. Buhner coming a long ways in. And the leadoff should say the second man is down. 2 down, and that will bring up Mike Greenwell. Let's go back now to what you were talking about, Walt Reniak. I want you to explain to me what you mean by the Reniak swing.
Watch how he leans out with his front arm, and it kind of windmills around his back. He extends out. His top hand will come off the bat right there. See, that's called a helicopter swing when you describe it.
You actually end up with a bat in one hand every time?
Right, but also you're not using your legs. You're not driving into the ball. In order to drive the ball out of the ballpark or to hit the ball in the gaps, you have to use your whole body. You use your legs. That's where your most power comes from.
Greenwell, who drove in the 2 runs for the Red Sox with a double back in the 3rd, has a 2-0 count on it.
And when you do that, if you don't use your legs, you end up using just the upper part of your body. You have to be awfully strong to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And most of these Red Sox hitters are not that strong, so they end up hitting a lot of singles.
Allen on his 2-0 pitch catches the corner, and the count goes to 2-1. Well, there's been a lot of theories. Charlie Lau had a theory. Remember, they get up on that toe all the time.
All right, Charlie Lau's theory is similar to Walt Reniak's, except Charlie Lau allows you.
That ball is deep, way back, it's gone. Greenwell, his 7th home run.
Greenwell hasn't been here long enough to learn that theory.
3 RBIs on the night. A solo shot, giving the Red Sox a 3-2 lead.
As I mentioned before, when Neil Allen gets behind in the count is when he can really get hurt. We'll take a look here. He gets a high fastball, and Greenwell knows what to do with it. But if you watch, you can see the difference between his swing and that of Dewey Evans.
Boy, that just froze the outfielders. You knew there was no chance to get to that one. That'll bring up Rice, who's 0 for 2. Greenwell with 7 home runs, leads the Red Sox. That's the 26th of the year for the Bo Sox. Inside, 2-0. That might inspire this guy, Rice, to get his first.
Well, he's got Neil Allen in a position where he can have a free swing at it. They're 2 down, no one's on base. So if Jim Rice is going to ever have a good cut, this is the proper time. 2 balls, no strikes, no one on base.
The veteran grounds it, third base side. Pagliarulo will end the inning, but Greenwell with that gigantic home run to right center field has put the Red Sox on top for the first time. Gary Bender, Joe Morgan, Yankee Stadium, bottom of the 5th. Neil Allen has retired 11 men. I'm sorry, Bruce Hurst has retired 11 men in order, as Allen a little upset at giving up that home run ball just a moment ago, and he was kicking around in the dugout. Greenwell, there was no question about it the minute it left his bat.
Well, I think he's kicking the dugout because he's upset with himself for getting behind in the count. When you have to throw a fastball hitter, a 2-1 fastball, you can get in trouble.
Hags leading things off. He grounded out back in the 2nd inning. Leadoff man in the bottom of the 5th. Grounded foul, upset at himself. Yankees started things out with 2 runs in the bottom of the 1st. Red Sox tied it up with 2 in the 3rd. Greenwell driving in a pair with a double, and then Greenwell giving Boston the lead in the top of the 5th with his 7th home run of the year. One ball, 2 strikes. Hippolito Pena warming up for the Yankees. Short left field. Rice is there, and that's the leadoff man at the bottom of the 5th. Santana will come up. He flied out to center field the first time. So Hurst continues to move along. 12 batters in a row. And it's so important, Joe, what you said. They had Hurst on the ropes. They had him in a corner, all the cliches. And now all of a sudden he's getting stronger, and all of a sudden he's got a lead to work with.
Well, I think the key is average pitchers, you can let them off the hook because you get another shot at them. Good pitchers do not give you 2 or 3 shots at them during a ball game. and they had a shot in the first inning. They got 2 runs, but they did not take full advantage of the opportunities that they had, and they may not get another one.
However, this guy has given up a lot of home runs, and that's something that I'm sure the Yankees are thinking about to get back in this one.
But he's only given up 3 base hits, and those came in the first inning. So it's obvious that he has settled down.
He's given up 8 home runs in the last 40 innings coming into tonight's game. Up the middle. Well, you can make that 4 base hits.
One of the things that you look for in a pitcher is how he feels his position. Bruce Hurst is in pretty good position, but the ball is off to his side. He can't get his glove back around. The ground ball is center field.
That's the case if you're a right-hander, you'd had quite an advantage on that play. So Skinner comes up. He struck out back in the 2nd inning. Tying run now down at first base with 1 out. One out and 1 on. Skinner, I guess you would expect this of him, being a very good student of the game because of his dad, Bob, a player and manager. You see it in every sport, Joe. Guys that are coaches' sons, that grow up around the game of baseball all their lives, and they do things that no one else really thinks about.
Well, you get a good education being around a Major League Baseball team, and he was around with his father, Bob, so he got a good education early.
Second base, Barrett will go to second. They get the force there. So Skinner on the fielder's choice, and there's 2 down.
That's a good play by Barrett. He takes the lead runner, makes a good quick throw to second base to get the lead runner. You always want to try to get the lead runner if you're an infielder.
Henderson is up. He has walked, scored a run, and flied out to center field in the 3rd inning. Two down here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Move to first, drive Skinner back in. 2 down. First checks over there again.
This is Ricky's 3rd time facing Bruce Hurst tonight, and he does not have a hit. And I think he's noticed that Hurst is starting to throw the ball better away, and we'll see if he makes the adjustment and try to go the other way.
Some of these patterns that you always pick up. First pitch misses, and it goes to 1-0. Ricky Henderson dedicated to regaining that stolen base ground this year. Hitting so much better than a year ago when he had the hamstring problems. And he's ahead of the pitcher, 2-0. Hurst taking a lot of time right now. There's the strike. He'd retired 12 in a row before Santana singled and then was erased at second.
Billy hasn't been out of the dugout yet.
I've been watching, so's everybody else. Owen will go unassisted to second. That will retire the side. The Red Sox still with that 3-2 lead as we have played 5. We'll return to Yankee Stadium after a word from our local station. Through 5, the Red Sox leading the Yankees 3-2. Let's go back now to a big memory. September 28, 1960, the splendid splinter. Ted Williams, his last hit in his career, coming in Fenway Park off of Jack Fisher. Number 9, Ted Williams drives it deep to right field. And interestingly enough, Jack Fisher, 2 days short of a year later, served up Roger Maris's 6th home run. Ted Williams, the last man to hit 400. Well, a new pitcher now, left-hander, Hippolito Pena, 24-year-old, comes on for the Yankees. He was called up from Columbus, where he was going very well. You can see what he's done here. He's 0-1, but in Columbus, he was 6-1 with a 3.47 ERA. He was leading the Columbus Clippers in wins. Make an appearance against Baltimore and starts things off against Rich Gedman. He's 1-1 on Gedman. It'd be followed by Pat Dodson and then Spike Owen. Pena, very lanky, 6'3", 165. Just kind of unwinds out there.
Throws pretty hard, though. Has a good fastball, pretty good breaking ball.
He replaces Neil Allen, who gave up 2 runs, 3 hits, all 3 RBIs by Mike Greenwell. Struck out 1 and walked 1. Caught the corner.
Good fastball on the outside corner.
There is Dodson, who is singled and grounded out. 2-2 from Pena. Whoop, look out.
That'll wake you up.
Gedman says, look, rookie, I don't want any more of that.
This is a good wake-up call. He's thrown 2 fastballs away. Now he's trying to come on the inside corner. The ball gets away from him. And that's especially tough for a guy like Gedman, who has not been playing against left-handed pitchers. He and Rick Cerrone have been splitting time.
No respect for the veteran catcher. 3-2 pitch. And he walked him, so Gedman, leadoff man, is on. Pena, the first man he faces, puts on Gedman, and Dodson will come up. Pena was originally in the Milwaukee Brewer organization, released, then signed by the Pirates, and then traded over here on March 30th. Left-hander will face the left-handed batter Dodson now. 3-2. Yankees trailing. 3 runs for the Red Sox on 8 hits. Yankees 2 runs, 4 hits. They've committed an error. Squares around to bunt. Dodson checking with the home plate umpire John Shulock, and it's a strike.
Well, Billy Martin brought Pena in so he could retire these 3 left-handers in a row, but he's walked 1, and he gives John McNamara the option of bunting, and that's what he's doing with Dobson.
See if he squares around again. Now 0-1. Here he goes. Charging from first and third. A call, strike 2. Dodson played collegiately at UCLA. Grew up in Inglewood, California. There's Joe Morgan, the third base coach. Same namesake as my broadcasting partner.
You know how many letters I get that are intended for him, and probably vice versa.
Just so they aren't bills. 0-2. Did he hang up? Nope, he didn't. 1 down. So after walking 1, he gets Dodson to strike out, and Spike Owen coming up.
Well, it's a breaking ball, and it's just down and away. Dobson tries to check his swing, but he goes too far. But here again, he's at a disadvantage, first of all, because neither he nor Rich Gedman have been facing many left-handed pitchers this season. There you see Bill Fisher, the pitching coach, telling him no, he didn't bunt at the first one, but he swung at the last one.
And no, that was not a strike.
Yeah.
Owen is up. He is singled and walked, so he's 1 for 1 in the game. Owen batting in the 9th position. Down at first still is Gedman with 1 down. Pena way outside. Well, this guy, he throws hard, but I think after Gedman was dusted off, everybody's getting up there a little bit uneasy. He looks like he might be a little bit wild.
Well, some guys are called conveniently wild, and Pena may be one of those guys.
1-1 to Spike Owen. And now Santana comes in to visit with the left-hander. Look at this. 3 home runs versus left-handed pitchers. As we mentioned, he has 3 home runs and 70 less at-bats than Jim Rice. That's almost sounds ridiculous when you think about it.
Well, you don't expect Spike Owens to hit any home runs, actually.
Well, he only had 2 last year, Joe.
And that was with the live baseball.
By the way, that brings up an interesting story. I read where you think the ball is dead this year.
Well, I think it's a proven fact. The home run production is down. Even the base hit production. Everything is down. Last year, the ball was lively. There's no doubt in my mind. A lot of people say there were a lot of cork bats. I don't believe that. I believe the ball was more lively last year.
2-1, foul back. Well, if you look at the pace the home runs are being hit, there's no question about it. The statistics point out what you say.
Well, I think last year we saw a lot of guys hitting opposite field home runs in the upper deck. The big guys are going to hit their home runs. The guys that are normally used to hitting 35 home runs a year, they're going to get theirs. But there were a lot of guys, there were 28 guys that hit over 30 home runs last year, and that's not a normal situation.
2-2 now to Spike Owen. Third base, Hags. They go to Randolph. The relay to first. And they go around the horn to end the inning. So Pena, after walking the leadoff man, gets the job done. He shuts them down. It's still the Red Sox 3, the Yankees 2. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx in New York. The American League East Division leaders trailing Bruce Hurst and the Boston Red Sox 3-2. The Red Sox trying to break a 4-game losing streak. They'd like to do well in this series and return on Monday to open up a home series against these same Yankees in Fenway Park, and we'll be there. Willie Randolph, 1 for 2 in the ball game, singled and scored a run back in the first. So Hurst staked to that 1-run lead by Greenwell's 7th home run in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, this is the Yankees' 3rd time around seeing Bruce Hurst. If they're going to make any adjustments, this is the time to do it.
Third base, Boggs, nice backhand. That's the thing that people probably don't appreciate about Wade Boggs. Not only has he led the American League in hitting for the last 5 years, but he's been a very accomplished third baseman.
Well, he's very proud of his defense. He's worked very hard at it, and this is a tough play. You've got a speedy runner, and to backhand the ball on a short hop is one of the toughest plays in baseball.
Wonder how he had his chicken tonight. Barbecued, fried, or broiled? What do you think, Joe?
Maybe all 3 ways.
You better keep it, whatever he had, the way he made that play. Buhner, who had that base hit RBI in the first, and then called out on strikes in the third. Big cut from a big man.
I really think Bruce Hurst is throwing harder now than at any other time in the ballgame. That was an excellent fastball, good velocity, and he still has excellent movement on his ball.
Well, you get far enough along, they're going to bring in a guy who throws some smoke in Lee Smith.
That's why I say this is a very important time for the Yankees if they're going to make a run at Bruce Hurst. We'll start to get to the 7th and 8th innings, and you're looking at Lee Smith.
So the Houston, Texas native Buhner has a 1-1 count on him. That misses, and it goes to 2-1. Buhner started out with the Pirates. He was traded over with Dale Berra. Of course, that's Yogi's son. The trade for Steve Kemp and Tim Foley. He signed a letter of intent to play at the University of Texas at one time. 3-1. They've got this guy, Roberto Kelly, who they like an awfully lot in the outfield. There's some young outfielders starting to work their way up in this Yankee system. 3-1 to Buhner. Here's Boggs again. Well, next week on ABC's Monday Night Baseball, the defending National League champions St. Louis Cardinals take on the front-running Mets or the New York Yankees. Visit Fenway Park and the Boston Red Sox. Be sure now to check local listings for the game in your area. Begin action at 8 o'clock Eastern. That's next Monday here on ABC. I'm looking forward to going over to Fenway. These two old rivals hooking up again a week from tonight. Jack Clark at the plate. Clark singled to drive in a run and struck out back in the fourth. Two out, bottom of the sixth inning. Hurst working very quickly.
And carefully.
Can you work quickly and carefully at the same time?
To Jack Clark, you can.
Clark came into this game 11 home runs, 31 RBIs. This is inside, so he's now behind 3-0. Winfield is next with 2 down.
And you see Jack Clark looking around as Dave Winfield in the on-deck circle. Jack Clark looked down at Clete Boyer to see if he had the green light on this 3-0 pitch.
Well, let's see if he does.
You see Rich Gedman giving a sign that he is swinging.
He takes it all away, and it's now 3-1. Interestingly enough, Joe, they move up Winfield to the number 5 spot against left-handers, so you've got to wade through Clark and Winfield back-to-back. 3-1, and he walked it.
That's the source of another story. I believe Dave Winfield should have been hitting 5th all season long because he leaves the American League and runs batted in. And what better place to hit a guy than 5th right behind Jack Clark and Don Mattingly.
You can see the exasperation by Hurst. That's his second walk of the game. His first one, believe it or not, was the first man of the game. That was Henderson. He had not walked a man since that time. You think Winfield likes left-handers?
One of the reasons Dave likes left-handers is because the ball tails away and he likes the ball away from him.
Chases Clark back into first.
Most right-handed hitters do not like the ball tailing away from them, so they don't handle left-handed pitchers as well as other guys. You have to be able to shoot the ball in the right center field or left center field if you're going to handle left-handed pitchers.
Kind of bounced that one over. Well, Dave Winfield, I know as you've been in Omaha all week at the College World Series. Dave Winfield was the most valuable player in the World Series when the University of Minnesota played in that Classic. He was a pitcher as well as an outfielder for the Gophers. Call strike to Winfield, and with 2 down, Clark, the tying run at first base. Winfield has said many times, and if you've read his book, which I've enjoyed immensely, that being 6'6", 230 pounds, everybody expected him to be Superman the minute he came out of college in the majors. And it doesn't always happen that way. Line foul, right field side, and the count goes to 0-2.
See, that's one of the reasons that he can handle left-handed pitchers, because that ball was tailing away, and if he would have tried to pull it, he'd hit a ground ball to shortstop. He was going the other way, all the way on that pitch. There's John McNamara, the Boston manager. He doesn't seem as comfortable to me as I've seen him before.
Well, you know, the poor guy, they took his number away from him. He had to give up number 1 for Bobby Doerr. Now he's hoping they're not going to take his uniform away from him.
There you see Billy Martin. He's been comfortable tonight. He has not had to go out and confront any umpires.
I don't think he has a choice. There's a shot. That's a fair ball off the glove of the first baseman, Dobson. Clark running to third, and we have runners at first and third with 2 out.
And that's the way to hit a left-handed pitcher.
I tell you, Dobson checking to see if he still has his arm down there. He took some shot off of his gloved hand. Watch this.
Well, this pitch is down and away, and Winfield goes the other way with it. And he's not sure it's a fair ball, or he's not sure that Dobson's not going to catch it. Here's the pitch, and he's going that way all the way. And Dobson makes a dive for it. And he's not able to come up with it.
So Clark at third, Winfield at first, Ward at the plate. Grounded foul, third base side. So Winfield, and a very good point by you, Joe Morgan. When you're a right-handed batter, you can take that ball to the opposite field. You can hit those left-handers. And that's what Winfield did. And Ward 0 for 2, trying to do some damage. It's going to be a tough play. Boggs coming in, going to have to hurry. He got it. Boggs made all 3 outs of that inning, playing brilliantly at third. just sensational defensive play at the hot corner. And so the Red Sox, due to this guy, able to protect that one-run lead. 3-2 our score. We played 6 at Yankee Stadium. The difference in this ball game, Mike Greenwell's home run as Wade Boggs leads things off. They followed by Marty Barrett and Ellis Burks. It started out with the Yankees taking a 2-0 lead in the first. The Red Sox tied it up in the third. Greenwell with his 7th home run, the difference in the 5th inning. Hippolito Pena in relief of Neil Allen, the left-hander, in his 2nd inning. Boggs thus far in the ball game with a pair of base hits. Boggs watches that one go outside. Warming up in the Yankee bullpen, Cecilio Guante, number 51.
And he's been a pleasant surprise for the Yankees this year.
He's far and above anything they expected. There's the strike. 3-1 on Wade Boggs. So Greenwell has done the damage for the Red Sox tonight. All 3 RBIs. Excellent defense by Boggs in the other half of the inning. And now trying to start things off as he's now full at 3-2.
Hippolito can be tough on left-handers because he kind of slings the ball with a sidearm motion, and he has good velocity on his fastball.
Full count. Second base, the captain of the Yankees. And so, one down, and that'll bring up Marty Barrett. Well, other games being played, of course, and Cleveland now has jumped to a 6-2 lead. What Jacoby, a home run and a double. Baltimore beating Detroit 5-2. Minnesota, who's been tough on the road this year, leading in Comiskey Park. Texas over California 4-1. Kansas City still with that 2-0 lead over Oakland. August, the rookie, going against Bankhead of Seattle starting later tonight. Barrett, first ball hitting, fouls it back. Let's continue on to update you. The Mets now 3-2 in the 6th. Look at Strawberry, 2-run home run, his 12th of the year. Well, the Cardinals have to make something happen in that series.
Well, the Mets are one of the best teams in baseball, and I'm not sure the Cardinals can catch them anyway or even stay with them for the remainder of the season.
They're 7.5 behind starting tonight. But as I mentioned, they played so well on the road, not able to pick up any ground, so maybe in Busch Stadium they can change that.
Well, the Mets pitchers do not care where they're pitching. The Mets pitching staff is awfully tough, and they can go in and beat the Cardinals 3 in a row, actually. Mets have good pitchers.
Barrett, the pitch sails high, and I tell you this, Pena, you better stay loose up there. That ball is coming up there with a lot of velocity and not always exactly on location. One on Barrett. Line to left field into the corner, and that is a fair ball. Kicking up against the wall. Barrett heads into second, and Marty Barrett with one down at second base. His 2nd hit of the game.
It was a breaking ball that was inside, and Barrett pulls it down the left field line. There you see it's a little slider. It's breaking in, and Barrett does pull the ball when you get it in. You throw it out over the plate, and he goes the other way. Ricky Henderson plays the carom, but by the time he gets it back in, Barrett has a double.
And now Fowler's to the mound, and we may have a pitching change as Barrett down at second. You know, we mentioned that Seattle Mariners game starting later. They have a new manager. Dick Williams was fired today, along with Coach Ozzie Virgil. So Pena will leave. We have a pitching change. We'll be back. The Red Sox leading and threatening again. Three-two our score. Marty Barrett down at second base after the double, and we have a pitching change. Guante, 51, coming on to pitch. Well, let's go back and capture a memory. The 61st home run by Roger Maris here in Yankee Stadium. It was against the Boston Red Sox and Tracy Stollard, and this was the ball that you saw hit out and shown so many times on news programs. The record, 61, breaking the old record of Babe Ruth. Frank Crosetti with the handshake as he goes through the third base side and comes in. He takes the bow, and Roger Maris with a home run, and a guy by the name of Sal Durante caught the ball, and they finally got it back to him, and there he is, his number retired, the late Roger Maris.
I wonder how many home runs he would have hit with last year's baseball.
You had to bring that up again, didn't you? Well, Guante is coming on, and Guante, as you mentioned earlier, has been a surprise this year. He's 3-2, earned run average 2.50. This will be his 28th appearance thus far with 5 saves through 39 2/3 of an inning. He was a guy who struggled so much last year. He was hurt a lot, but this year has come back and been a welcome addition to this Yankee pitching staff. And so Pena will lead the ball game. Pena went 1 1/3 innings, giving up no runs, 1 hit. He is responsible for Barrett at second. He walked 1, and he also struck out 1. So Skinner will face Guante. Check that. Ellis Burks is at the plate as Guante starts him out with a strike. Ellis Burks followed by Evans. The start of the inning with Boggs grounding out to second. The double by Barrett. Burks is up to be followed by Evans. Burks thus far with a double back in the 3rd inning. Guante checks Barrett. 0-1. Nice foul, and it's 0-2.
Guante is awfully tough on a right-handed hitter because he drops down and he kind of slings the ball. Has a good fastball that tails back in and a good breaking ball that he can get on the outside corner.
Another one of those lanky pitchers, isn't he?
Right, but he's especially tough on right-handers.
Randolph comes in and talks to him. Burks was the first Sox rookie to hit 20 home runs and steal 20 bases. He's got a goal to steal 40, and he also would like to hit 300 this year. He's over 300 right now. Hitting .333. 0-2. And it's now 1-2.
See, that's what made Guante so tough there. He came kind of 3/4 over the top with that pitch, and the next time he drops down, and that makes it very tough for a right-hander to pick up the pitch. See, this time he comes right over the top. Next pitch, he'll kind of sling from the side.
What you're saying is it's hard to know what he's going to do.
Exactly.
Guante's 1-2, and he just blew that one by him. 2 down, and Evans will come up.
He wanted to run the fastball back in. That's why he gets on top here. And watch the ball move back in. There, you see the ball tail back in. That's why he was throwing that one from the top. When he wants the ball to go away, he drops down to the side, kind of slings it to the outside corner.
Evans will come up. He is 0 for 3 today. He had a 17-game hitting streak going into here, as you can see. Now, you talk about batting styles. The way he's up on the foot, that's a little bit that Charlie Lau theory, right, of getting back on that foot.
Well, Walt Reniak's theory is a combination of his own and Charlie Lau's.
Foul ball, left field. 0-2.
When you watch George Brett, I think he's a perfect example of the Charlie Lau theory in that he distributes his weight well, and then he just kind of leans back. Dwight Evans gets up on his toe, but basically that's to keep his weight back.
2 down, a runner at second. Time called. Little gust of wind coming through and blowing some debris around. Well, when you see somebody up on the toe, though, that automatically registers Charlie Lau to me.
Charlie Lau's theory I have no problems with because you can drive the ball from that position.
Santana, they're out of the inning. So the double by Barrett is shut down by Guante. He leaves him there. We'll return to Yankee Stadium after this message and news headlines from our local station. Our score as we go to the bottom of the 7th. The Red Sox leading. We talked about these 2 old rivals. And you talk about two guys who created a lot of this rivalry, Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio. We had invited them to be in the booth with us. They couldn't, so we got the next best thing. We got their cards, and they're in mint condition, I might add.
I tell you, these are two very valuable baseball cards.
6 times Ted Williams led the American League in hitting. Last guy to hit 400. And Joe DiMaggio, that 56-game hitting streak. What's the longest you ever had, Joe?
18, I believe.
Pagliarulo will start things off. Santana and Skinner to follow. Bottom of the 7th inning, 3-2. Boston. 3 runs, 9 hits for the Red Sox. Hurst continues. Fouled straight back and out of play. The Yankees scoring their 2 runs on 5 hits and committing 1 error. Their 2 runs coming way back in the 1st inning. Started out with a base on balls by Henderson, a single by Randolph. Buhner then singled in a man. Clark singled in 1. And since then, Billy Martin's crew not able to put any more runs on the scoreboard. I would imagine Billy's glad to be back in that dugout. That's tough not being able to be there with the team.
It has to be tough, and I'm sure he's glad to be back in Yankee Stadium.
Pagliarulo fouls it back again. 1-2.
But watching him tonight, I still feel that he feels the tension in this ball game.
Now we've got something out on the right field line. Going out there is first base umpire Mark Johnson.
Well, I think they're throwing something at Dwight Evans in right field, and that's what he's talking about.
Evans wants to be in the outfield, but that's one of the barrels. He's been at first base most of the year. Now he's talking to Mark Johnson, trying to get some relief. So coming over also will be Jim McKeon, the crew chief, and John McNamara, a little concerned about his right fielder.
Well, what they'll have to do is make an announcement on the PA that they will forfeit the game to the Boston Red Sox if people continue to throw things at Dwight Evans in right field. This happened once in Philadelphia when I was with the Reds, and they were throwing batteries out of the upper deck. And Sparky Anderson decided that he wanted to pull the ball club off the field.
You never did have anybody throw money at you, did you?
No, they didn't do that.
Well, that's unfortunate. Evans has come all the way into the infield now.
Well, I think Dwight knows who's throwing it. I think that's the problem. And he's trying to explain that it's been going on for a couple of innings now.
Well, while that's going on, Hurst continues to throw to stay warm. We're in the bottom half of the 7th inning. We have a 1-2 count on Pagliarulo. And the delay due to some fans throwing debris or objects to probably not only distract Dwight Evans, but he's got to be very careful about hitting him. And Evans, a veteran, plays that position as well as anybody. He has 8 gold gloves. So he'll go back out there, and no announcement has been made on the PA as of yet. So we'll kind of watch and see what happens when he gets back out there.
They will not continue play until the announcement is made, I guarantee that.
Yeah, it's too bad. So Evans, the 36-year-old veteran, will come back out there. I'm sure he's seen this before, and he's seen it all. Happened here last year. Now a chance starting up out in that right field area. You know, it's an amazing thing, Joe. It's not just in baseball, but in every sport, the liberties fans are starting to take. Some of the authority they seem to assume by just being a fan.
Well, sometimes people forget that a ticket only buys you a seat to the ball game.
Anyway, we're started again. 1-2 on Pagliarulo. He fouls it back. Evans backed up. Thus far, nothing's happened out there. I never did hear an announcement. Did you?
I heard something, but I wasn't sure.
Struck him out. That's the 6th strikeout for Hurst.
I would think that Bruce Hurst would be awfully tough on Pags because he has two options, the fastball going down and in, which he uses here, or the breaking ball going down and away. That's a good sinker. And you can see Pags can't believe the ball disappeared like that. That was an excellent sinker from Bruce Hurst.
He seems to be just as strong as he was after he got out of that shaky first inning as he goes to the bottom of the seventh. Santana, and he starts him out with a strike. Santana singled back in the fifth inning and flied out in the second. Ground ball and nice stab by Owen. Spike Owen with a strong throw. Well, Spike Owen, who's lost his job 3 times this year. They've gone to the rookie Jody Reed those other 2 times, playing like he wants to stay at shortstop.
There you see Boggs at third, but they're going over in the hole to Spike Owen. That's how you test the shortstop. When you're rating a shortstop, you judge how he makes the ball in the hole, how he makes the throw. If he can go in the hole and make the play, he can be a good major league shortstop.
He's another one of those Texas Longhorns. He played with Clemens and Schiraldi at Texas. Strike call to Joel Skinner. Skinner 0 for 2, a strikeout, and reached on a fielder's choice. Owen again goes to one knee. It's an easy inning for Bruce Hurst. So Hurst continues to wade through the Yankees. He leads it 3-2 as we have played 7 innings at Yankee Stadium. Well, there are the numbers as we have played 7 innings here at Yankee Stadium. The Red Sox on the difference of a home run. And there's some of the storied history at Yankee Stadium. Monuments and the plaques. There are 3 monuments. Miller Huggins, Lou Gehrig, and Babe Ruth, and then plaques commemorating all the great Yankee tradition. 2 of the Popes also have been commemorated here. They've moved that. It used to be in straightaway center field, and there were some balls hit out there, and you had to run behind the monuments to get to the ball. Well, here's the guy that has really done the damage in this game, Mike Greenwell. 3 RBIs, a home run, and a double. His home run, the 7th of the year, and that leads the Red Sox in that department. That backs him out, 1-1. Duarte still on the mound. 6'3", 205-pounder out of the Dominican Republic. Inside again, 2-1.
Guante has used his fastball almost entirely these 2 innings. He has not shown the good slider that he has. He has an excellent slider, a late breaking slider.
Greenwell hits this one to short left field. Henderson over there. Santana, Ricky camps under it. 1 out. Well, we talked about ABC's best line of the week. Joe Morgan, let's go to the worst line of the week.
There you see Frank Tanana. He had 1 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 7 earned runs, 2 bases on balls, no strikeouts. This is a home run he gives up to Ivan Calderon. But he's joining the club because Ivan Calderon has been hitting him rapidly lately.
Well, we might add, Tanana's been effective this year. He's 8-3, but that was not his day. The veteran left-hander, Jim Rice at the plate. 1 down, Rice 0 for 3. Struck out, grounded out twice.
And he has not had a good swing all night.
Got a pretty good cut, but he got under that one. And Pagliarulo is going to have to wait a long time for that one to come down. They always say when you hit them that high in the air, you just miss. You just barely miss. That time, there's 2 out. That brings up Gedman. Gedman's walked once. Gedman started out this year breaking his toe. He fouled the ball off his toe, went on the DL. Last year he had surgery on his thumb. He's really battling back from a lot of injury. 6-3 now, Cleveland. There's the final. The Orioles off to that miserable start winning. Minnesota still leading the White Sox. Shot foul down the first base side. Texas 5-3 in the 5th. Cookie Rojas, his first year at the Angels. Kansas City still 2-0. Jim Snyder replacing Dick Williams, we talked about earlier, he being fired. Long run and a fine running catch by Dave Winfield. It's a 3-up and 3-down inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Dave Winfield, who's made a play, a sparkling play almost every game. He did it a week ago. Will return to Yankee Stadium after a word from our local station.
Now, attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen.
The Red Sox are the lead, and we have a change in left field for Boston. Kevin Romine, who was called up from Pawtucket this week, replaces Jim Rice. So Rice leaves 0 for 4 and still looking for that first home run of the year. As Bruce Hurst continues, he'll face the top of the order.
This is Bruce Hurst's first time working this year on only 3 days rest. He's done an excellent job so far.
Wasting no time with Henderson. He's now 1-1. Henderson to be followed by Randolph and Buhner. Ricky started this game out with a walk, scored a run. Then he's flied out and reached on a fielder's choice. Inside, 2-1. Boy, you look back at that first inning. The first 4 men to come to the plate got on base for the Yankees. There is the guy you may have to wade through, Lee Smith, before it's all over. Henderson straightaway center field. Burks is back. There's 1 out. Woody Randolph coming up. We're in the bottom half of the 8th inning. This game really moving along. But I started to say, you look back to the first, Hurst was really in trouble. Henderson walked. Randolph singled. Buhner singled in a run. Clark singled in a run. And then the double play ball of Dave Winfield really got him out of a jam.
Right, that's what Bruce Hurst was looking for from the first hitter, but he was not able to get it until after the Yankees had scored 2 runs. But it was a key point in the ball game because it kept the Yankees from really putting the game out of reach.
Woody Randolph looking for his second hit of the game. He singled and scored back in the first. I think probably the thing is you have to say about Woody Randolph, when he's not in there, the Yankees aren't the same. Last year, when he went out to have knee surgery, the Yankees had a 3-game lead. When he came back, they had dropped to 3rd. So that's an integral part of this team. There's the final now. The Indians defeating the Blue Jays. 0-2 to Randolph, and it's to short. Takes a mean hop, but staying with it is Spike Owen. Ball stayed down on him. Buhner will come up with 2 down. So with the Indians winning, they could pull within 1.5 should the Red Sox and Bruce Hurst maintain this 1-run lead. Hurst blowing on his hands. Can't be cold out there. Buhner, who singled and drove in that run back in the first and called out on strikes and grounded out. This guy looks like a tight end, not Billy Martin, excuse me, Jay Buhner. Billy Martin probably was tough enough to play tight end.
Well, according to what Richie Phillips has said, Billy Martin has been an altar boy tonight.
You know what? He has been very quiet.
Right.
His decorum has been impeccable.
And I wonder if he really enjoys the game that way. No, I really do. I mean,
well, he's on the front edge of the dugout now. He was sitting in there. He's moved out a little bit.
Billy's personality is one of aggressiveness.
That's an understatement. 2-0. Sound like a broken bat. Owen coming in again, and it's a very quick inning. And Bruce Hurst now has shut the Yankees down through 8 innings. Hanging on to that 3-2 lead. The veteran left-hander trying to win his 7th. Well, we have a new pitcher now for the Yankees, the veteran Dave Righetti. And Bruce Hurst may be done, too. He's gone 8 innings, giving up 2 runs, both of those in the first. 5 hits, walked 2, struck out 6. As we mentioned on 2 occasions, they had him in real trouble in the first inning. The first 4 batters reaching. He got out of that jam. He retired 12 in a row, and now has retired the last 7 in a row. So after winning only 1 of his last 6, After a 5-0 start, this is a big comeback for the veteran, and I think that we're going to see Lee Smith.
There's no doubt in my mind that you're going to see Lee Smith.
Dave Righetti. He was pitching as a starter for the New York Yankees July 4th, and he pitched a no-hitter. Righetti moved to a relief role in 1984, but he'll not forget this for a long time. Wade Boggs was the last man he faced. And Dave Righetti, July 4th, which, by the way, is the birthday of George Steinbrenner with the no-hit game. So Righetti, who's been tough on the Red Sox, will try to continue that as we go to the top of the 9th inning. Some talk this year of moving him back as a starter.
Well, he's so valuable in the bullpen, but he also would be valuable as a starter. It's just a matter of opinion.
Dodson leads things off. Bouncer to first. Ward will go to Righetti, and Righetti does a little tap dance down that first base line.
One of the plays you practice 100 times a day in spring training is first baseman to the pitcher. Righetti falls off to the third base side, so he's a little late getting over. But Gary Ward leads him perfectly here, almost perfectly anyway. And Righetti makes the play.
Uh-oh, we got somebody running on the field. And that somebody's going to wish he had. He goes out and shakes hands with Righetti. Hey, you better sign that kid. He can run. He's back in the stands now.
Well, he was.
Righetti kind of smiling. There is Bruce Springsteen leaving. He must decide he's going to get out of here after that.
He must think the game's over, huh? Or he's trying to beat the crowd.
Yeah, we got to get these musicians to be better fans. They got to stay the full 9 innings. Well, he talk to the boss about that.
He wants to beat the crowd. Next time we'll leave in the middle of his concert.
Well, the old Bronx Zoo here. We've had a few things. The fans in right field bothering Dewey Evans, and now a fan running on the field. And boy, look at this. He may take a while to get out at this time. Everybody wanted to shake his hand. Let's go back to the game, all right? Spike Owen at the plate with one down. Owen with a base hit and a walk, and then he grounded out into a double play. One down, top of the 9th. 3-2, Boston. Righetti trying to shut the door and then hope that somebody can get something done in the bottom of the inning. And now the Mets advantage 5-2 in the 8th. Look at the straw man. A home run, a single, 4 RBI.
He's having a great year for the Mets.
1-1 pitch, foul back. Well, Joe, what about a Subway Series?
Well, I think the Oakland Athletics would have something to say about that at this particular time. But I believe the Mets will win the Eastern Division. And I think they are the best team in the National League, so I think they will end up in the World Series.
Is Oakland already in? Do you think anybody can catch him?
No, I really don't.
Owen now with a count of 2-2, one down. Crowd abuzz because Springsteen is still making his exit here at Yankee Stadium. So Boston trying to break this 4-game losing streak. Foul ball. Well, Oakland, what impressed me, I think, went into Minnesota in the Metrodome a day early to work out because they couldn't win there last year. They took 2 of the 3 in that series with the Twins. That might have been a psychological advantage for Tony La Russa's club.
Well, I think it is. I think they are the class of the West. And I think the Yankees will win the East, but it's not going to be as easy for the Yankees as I think it will be for the Oakland A's.
2-2, foul back. And you made a point prior to the game tonight when we sit and talk that it might make, as you see Oakland losing tonight, might make a big difference on what trades are made before the trading deadline. Remember last year how the Giants helped themselves so much.
That's exactly correct. And I think there will be some big trades made before the deadline this year because I think everyone will remember how much the Giants helped themselves last year, and they'll be trying to do the same.
2-2 to Spike Owen, fly ball, right field. Winfield backing up. And there's 2 away. That'll bring up Wade Boggs. Boggs with a pair of hits. Montreal losing to Philadelphia. Mike Schmidt, who's been struggling.
Really struggling.
Yep. Look at this, Eric Davis. You know, I was talking to Dave Parker last week. Asked him did Eric Davis miss him on the club? I think a lot of people feel that his absence, now being in Oakland, has hurt Davis a little bit.
Well, I think it's hurt not only Eric Davis, it's hurt the entire Cincinnati ball club.
1-0 to Boggs, misses inside. 2-0, 3-2, the Red Sox. 2 down. Righetti tried to stop it here and then hope somebody can get something done at the bottom of the inning. That's Barrett on deck. What is this? No respect for the American League batting champion?
This is another wake-up call, and this is a real good one by Righetti. You see the... That's a tough pitch. Wade Boggs dives into the ball a little bit, and he started in, and the ball was right at his head. No chance. He's lucky to get out of the way.
92-mile-an-hour fastball, too.
That's all? It looked a little harder than that. I guarantee you Wade Boggs thought it was harder than that.
Boggs is saying, I'm sorry I made all those 3 great plays at third.
Winfield's testing this. It has...
Oh, there's something on the field. Yeah, there goes Mark Johnson. He's going to pick it up. What is that?
I don't know, but if it hits someone, it would hurt.
Ooh, it's like a baton or something. Piece of pipe.
Well, one thing about that, if they find a fan that can throw it that far, they might well sign him up. That's a heavy piece.
That is, you know, we joke, but that's not funny at all.
Right.
2 up for New York, by the way. In the bottom of this inning, it'll be Clark, Winfield, and Ward. If Righetti can end it here. He walked it. So Boggs is at first with 2 down, and Barrett will come up. Barrett has 2 hits tonight. If it continues, then it's the number 3 man in the order, Ellis Burks. So Dave Righetti, the left-hander, now will try to stop things here in the top of the 9th, hope that they can at least get 1 run in the bottom of the inning. There's a strike. So he's behind Boggs 3-0, and he starts Barrett out with a strike. That's high, and the count evens at 1.
All of a sudden, Righetti does not seem to be getting on top of the ball. His release point is dropped. He's dropped his shoulder down a little bit, and that's why he keeps releasing the ball high.
You were kind of surprised they brought him in, but he may need some work. He hasn't had that much activity. 1-1. There's the strike, 1-2.
Well, we're going to look at Dave Righetti here. He has a high leg kick, and he really uses his back leg. See how he really drives off the mound? Right there. That's almost perfect throwing position. Then his shoulder follows. That's good technique.
Grounded third base side. Pags will go to second. That takes care of the Red Sox. So Clark, Winfield, and Ward will come up as Righetti gets the job done. The Yankees need at least 1 run.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Well, the big stopper coming in now for the Boston Red Sox, 31-year-old Lee Smith, the man who the Red Sox felt when they made the trade with the Chicago Cubs was the final piece to the puzzle. This will be his 18th appearance, 6 saves, 2-2 record. And when he grips that baseball, it's almost like he's throwing a golf ball. He has such a big hand. He's 6'6", 245. And Lee Smith now will try to end this Red Sox 4-game losing streak as he protects his 1-run lead.
Lee hasn't been as consistent as he was in the American National League. And you can see that Jack Clark is hitting pretty well. And that was, of course, both when they were both in the National League. But,
you know, the interesting thing, you wonder, bringing in Smith against a former National Leaguer, that cuts down some of your advantage, doesn't it?
well, I think what they want to do, they have 3 right-handers in a row, Clark, Winfield, and Ward. And I think they felt that Bruce Hurst could not wade through this group one more time. So they're going to bring Big Lee Smith in and see what he can do. I agree with you that John McNamara is probably not aware of how well that Jack Clark has hit Lee Smith in his career.
Not to mention how familiar he is with him. So Hurst pitched very well, and Smith will try to save it for him. 8 innings for Hurst, giving up 2 runs, 5 hits, walked 2, and struck out 6. And Smith, who is quite a basketball player at Northwestern State in the Louisiana area. In fact, one time he thought about continuing on professionally. Mike Rorick, who was the coach at that time, says your fastball is better than your jump shot. So here we go. Bottom of the ninth, the Red Sox 3-2. Clark, Winfield, and Ward.
And this will definitely be power against power.
Smith looking to close it, get the Red Sox started right in this 3-game series. Little bit low. You know, this guy throws very hard, but he also has a very good slider.
And that was a slider he threw to Jack Clark right there.
No emotion on that one. There goes Bruce on his train. So we talked about the Subway Series. That's where they would come. 2-0 to Clark. Whoa, that would have tied it up.
Yeah, but Jack pulled everything off. His shoulder, his head, everything. Watch Jack's front shoulder, watch his head. Everything goes because he's trying to hit this one on the monument.
Oh, man, I tell you now, that one was a serious pitch. The other one was to let him know he was there. This one is to tell him he's there. It doesn't look like he has any remorse at all.
I think the only concern he has is now as it counts 3-1, he has to come in with a fastball again.
He walks him. So the leadoff man is on. Winfield will come up. Dave 1 for 3 for the night. We have Claudell Washington getting up in the on-deck circle. So evidently they'll bring in the left-handed batter to replace Gary Ward.
Dave Winfield just had a discussion with Clete Boyer, but I do not believe that they're going to have Dave Winfield bunt.
This is a reaction to the walk given up by Lee Smith.
Lee Smith throws so hard, it's awfully tough to try to bunt him, especially to try to bunt the ball down the first baseline.
So Clark leads away. Billy Martin like to see his team pull it out here in the bottom of the ninth. Winfield looked like he might bunt. The strike. Washington, by the way, the on-deck guy, has 2 pinch-hit home runs this year for the Yankees. And that's who will come up after Winfield. Nobody out. 0-1. Grounded over the middle. Barrett knocks it down. They didn't make the play.
This ball is grounded up the middle. I thought it was going to be a double play. It actually caroms off Lee Smith's glove. Marty Barrett knocks it down, tries to flip it to Spike. Not in time.
Number 18, Claudell Washington.
Well, that's just exactly the way Billy coached it all the way. But what happened, I think, and you see now McNamara thinking he must be snake bit. What happened is that ball took a funny spin, didn't it, after it hit the mid of Smith and made a tough play, but Barrett still should have gotten the force.
They're giving Winfield a base hit.
Well, Winfield with his second hit of the night. And here's the pinch hitter, Claudell Washington. We mentioned he has 2 pinch hit home runs. Coming in at third is Boggs, expecting the bunt, and he swings away.
Pat Dobson at first base was way in on the grass as well. As we noted last week,
Claudell has hit safely in 4 straight games.
Billy does not bunt a lot.
0-1. 1-1. Clark at second. Winfield at first. Nobody out. Bottom of the ninth. The Red Sox lead it 3-2. That makes it 1-2.
That's a good Lee Smith fastball.
That last pitch on the radar gun was 96 miles an hour.
That's more like the Lee Smith that I know.
Wonder what's in that drink. There's Clark down at second. Winfield at first. And the count stays at 1-2. One-two pitch. He blew it by him. The first out of the inning.
The one thing you have to look for off Lee Smith is the fastball. That's his best pitch, and I don't think he's going to get hurt with any other pitch at this particular time in the ball game.
Boy, you can see what energy he expended on that pitch. So Washington erased. Pagliarulo comes up. That's his 22nd strikeout of the season. Smith, as you know, has recorded 4 straight seasons of 30-plus saves in the National League. 1 out and 2 on.
This is where you have a good fastball pitcher against a good fastball hitter. And what Lee Smith will be trying to do is stay in tight on Pagliarulo.
Pags was her 6th strikeout victim back in the 7th. 0-1. Steps off. And here's Jose Cruz, who started in right field yesterday. He'll be pinch hitting for Santana. Should this all continue? One ball, 1 strike.
Pagliarulo will be sitting on the fastball, and that's what he will get in this situation.
One and one. Boy, he's just daring him to hit anything he throws up. That was 95 miles per hour.
I think Lee Smith is just now getting loose.
Cubs all-time save leader, 180 in his career with Chicago. One and two. Center field. Burks is there at the warning track. The runner, Clark, tagging up. He'll go to third. There's 2 down. And so we have Jose Cruz coming up. Cruz so many years playing in the National League with no Lee Smith also, as McNamara now will make a trip to the mound.
And I think John wants to remind Lee Smith and also inform Rich Gedman that Jose Cruz can hit a fastball. A high fastball, a low fastball, any fastball. Jose Cruz can hit it. And I think that's what he wants to remind Lee Smith of, and make sure that he does mix in a breaking ball. I think you'll see a little different strategy here against Jose Cruz.
Well, Lee Smith comes over to the American League, and he faces two National Leaguers in the inning, ex-National Leaguers.
And both of
we
these
saw
guys,
Clark earlier, and look at Cruz's stats.
They've both been successful against Lee Smith in the National League, and I think it's because both of those guys are real good fastball hitters.
Well, Cruz is 40 years old. He played 13 seasons with the Astros, 5 with the Cardinals. 6 years he hit over 300. And here we go with 2 out, the tying run at third. Nothing fancy. He is just Powder River right now. Thus far, Cruz is 1 and 11. 1 for 11 as a pinch hitter. Strike 2. McNamara, they know they're 1 strike away. That was 94 miles per hour. There's the tying run, and there's the go-ahead run. Just missed. You know, Keith Hernandez said, I'll never understand why the Cubs traded Lee Smith over to the American League, but I'm glad to get him out of the National League.
That's the sentiments of a lot of National League hitters.
One and two. Down to short. That'll do it. And the Red Sox have broken a 4-game losing streak. Lee Smith started out a little shaky with a base hit and a walk, but he gets the job done. Saves the win for Hurst, who goes to 7-3. Smith with his 7th save of the year. Neil Allen, the loser, he's now 2-1. And of course, it was a Mike Greenwell night. 3 RBIs, including his 7th home run of the year. So the Red Sox, who had lost 9 of their last 12 and 4 in a row, start this 3-game series out in a very successful way. 3-2. 3 runs on 9 hits. The Yankees, 2 runs, 6 hits and an error. We'll return to Yankee Stadium after this message and a word from our local stations. The final score, the Red Sox defeating the Yankees. Hurst the winner. ABC's Monday Night Baseball. This ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. By Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By today's Howard Johnson. We're changing a lot of minds. And by Smith, Klein, and French, the ulcer expert. The executive producer of Monday Night Baseball is Jeffrey Mason. Tonight's telecast was produced by Steve Dan, directed by Bill Webb, technical director Rich Kelber. David Kiviat, our associate director. Assistants to the producer Michael Cohen and Nancy Stern. Operations manager Lynn Nantum. Telecommunications manager Stu Strelzer. Stats and research George Hill, along with Peter Hurst. Stay tuned now for ABC's Nightline, following your local news over most of these ABC stations. Once again, 3-2 Boston. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as a leader in sports television.